Alexander, welcome to F.A.C.E. Pleasure to meet you. If you're familiar with Zoom, you'll should be unmuted now.
Hey, Dale, can you hear me?
Got you, Alexander.
Hey, good
Hey,
morning.
great to meet you. So on Zoom, to share your screen, you just scroll down the bottom, little green box. Because I know you want to talk about RSI, one of my one-trick pony tools. So thank you for taking the time to join us today.
Yeah, it's great to be here. And I was here before, maybe a couple months ago. Yeah, it's good to be back. So thank you for having me.
Yeah, I must have old timers. So
you've got a lot going on.
Yeah, so I don't remember. Maybe you could just give me and our viewers a brief bio of how you got into the business and your long and God bless the broken road that led you right to where you are now.
Right. So I started in the markets around late 2008, and actually before I get going, unfortunately I couldn't get a working camera going, so I just have the audio.
Okay.
But I started at late 2008, totally green. I didn't even know the market had been dropping, so I started then probably around like November or so. And I've really been at it almost 100% since. And I've started with stocks, went to futures, really found my home and a passion in the Forex market. So really what it comes down to is I like to swing trade Forex. So looking at entries on the hour, the 4 hour, rarely, but sometimes even on the daily. And then I like to longer term, like invest in the stocks and options market, stuff like that. Definitely like dividend paying stocks, especially right now, that have that aren't so overvalued like tech is. So
I know there are some miners that pay decent dividends. They paid you while you waited, and it was worth the wait.
Yeah. Newmont, at one point Newmont was paying almost 6%,
right?
And so world's largest gold miner, or at least in the US, I don't know how it compares to Barrick's. Barrick's is pretty high up there as well in the gold miners. But yeah, I mean, you were able to get some really good dividends. And I really just stick with Newmont when it comes to the miners. Got to be really careful. You got to be more specialized in the kind of finds that they're looking at and where they're digging. And it's just too much for me and my simple mind.
Okay. Well, it's also a way of risk management. I know a lot of great traders that like the junior miners, but won't buy them individually, but will trade SILJ. So not one issue can come up with a surprise and be a landmine.
Agreed. Actually, I feel if you're not willing to put in the time for the individual stocks, the indexes are definitely way to go. At least you get some diversification. But being a relative strength guy, what I really like to do when looking at indexes, I like to dig into that index, try to find the stronger of the group, and then kind of focus on those.
Okay. So when you're talking about relative strength, you're not talking about the RSI. You're just
correct.
Talking. Okay. All right.
As much as I like Wells Wilder, I just never really took to it, though I do like Constance Brown. I don't know if she's still the editor of the Market Technicians Association, but she wrote a book, Trading for Technical Analysis for the Trading Professional. And that really opened my eyes to kind of the power of the RSI. And she digs really deep into it. I don't know if you've read that book before, but it's really good.
Oh, that's a good recommendation for people that use that tool. I've never read it. I'm going to check it out
Yeah,
because
it just
that's I appreciate it. See, that's why we do these things, these interviews, is because we learn from everybody. So that was Constance Brown.
Constance
So,
Brown. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Appreciate
she
that,
she
Alan.
at least yeah she at least used to be the editor of the NTA, but I haven't really been involved with them for a while now. But anyway, so the relative
Okay.
strength that I like to focus on, here
Like
I
a
brought up my
currency
graphs
meter.
here.
Yeah, like a
Yeah,
currency meter. Okay,
yeah.
I got you.
So yeah, a lot of different names. Sometimes people will call this a heat map.
Yeah.
And just to start off the conversation for those who are newer to this, relative strength is more of an analysis rather than a tool. It's a process that you go through in any market, really, just to try to distinguish who's being bought more, which are the stronger stocks or the stronger currencies, and who's being sold more, which would then lend itself to the weakness. And what I like about Forex so much is that it makes this more obvious. It's actually very explicit because we trade pairs. And it's kind of interesting because everything is a pair. SPY is paired with the dollar, and so is gold. But we don't really see it that way because we just trade SPY or we just trade GLD. You come into the you come into the Forex market and you see these pairs that we have two currencies, and these currencies have their own supply and demand equations going about, second after second, as institutions, private investors, small traders like myself are making buying and selling decisions and going in and purchasing or selling those currencies. So by understanding kind of where the strength and where the weakness is in the Forex market, really it's just to help save a lot of time, energy, and effort. I wouldn't have to go through the whole list to try to find a few pairs that are trending. I can just do a quick relative strength analysis and have all the information right in front of me. And these heat maps are very common. Forex Factory has one. I post this every day. I mean, they are all over the place. But the general idea, I just kind of drew this so I wouldn't have to illustrate it while we're talking. But the idea is if you're looking for trends, you want to find a strong and a weak currency paired together. If you have strength in the base, the front currency, right, and you have weakness in the quote, that thing's going to be going higher. And to the degree of how fast it's going is really how strong is the base and how weak is the quote. And the further they are apart from each other, just the stronger that trend's going to be. Right.
So would it be with what's happened here in the last few weeks, pound Aussie? Or pound yen, or because is the pound one of your relative strength currencies currently?
Not
or
pound
euro?
Yen, not pound yen or euro yen, just because the pound and the euro have been really holding up. I believe you guys brought that up earlier of how strong the pound and the euro still are, and then you look at the Aussie and it just seems like someone hit it over the head with a mallet. So for me, if I wanted to trade, like, for example, the yen, it's the strongest single currency of all the 8 single majors, then, I'd want to look at, Aussie yen, or even better, dollar yen. Dollar yen's going to have a very aggressive, downtrend here. Here's the daily chart.
Yeah.
This thing has just been on a move. Very nice, respecting the 20-day EMA, right? So, seeing this, I would be more geared towards, when I come to dollar yen, I'm already thinking, okay, I want to be bearish on this. I'm looking for sells. I want to go with this trend. We could bring in other things. I know that you were talking about the Dixie. The Dixie is something, if you're going to be trading the major currency pairs, any of the ones with the dollar involved, it's a good idea to kind of take a look at the Dixie. The dollar definitely has been dropping. We're near these lows, so we could see a reversal. But the thing about relative strength is it's going to lead you to trends. So as a trend trader, rather than trying to buy dollar yen now, I'm going to wait for the market to start showing me that the relative strength is shifting. Right. So that if we start to see a strong dollar and that strong dollar is able to push dollar yen higher, we're going to start to see that reflected as time goes on and the data is updated. So definitely very bearish. CAD yen. CAD yen has been another good one. And with the recent volatility that you guys have pointed out, has made this tool that I have that maps out the quarters kind of messes with the range adjustment of the chart, right? But you can just kind of see the strong downtrend that CAD has been in. That volatility that we saw in the yen really just pushed us up to supply, and we're right back down to the lows, right? So I'd be looking to follow this. Right now that we're kind of basing around the 95 handle. Ideally, I'd like to see it below before I'm trying to sell. We don't want to sell into lows. We don't want to sell into round numbers. Let it break first.
Okay, why? That's interesting. Why? And does that also apply to you don't want to buy around round numbers? You don't want to sell around round numbers? And what would be the reason to avoid the BRO?
The breakout?
Big BRN, big round numbers.
Yeah. Well, it's more just you don't want to sell into support, and you don't want to buy into resistance.
And that happens a lot around the round numbers.
Well, yeah. I mean, really, it's just a general rule. Out of all the places on a chart, the last place I would want to sell is a low. I would rather see that low broken first.
Okay.
And it would be the same for the high. The last place I'd look to buy would be at a high, even if the trend is up. Now bringing that in, I am a trend trader. So personally, I don't really see this as a buying opportunity for me just because the trend is down, right? So I would rather see price either break below the 95, giving me some room down to the 92.50, or to rally back up somewhere near that 97.25. So just kind of like this move here, we were hanging around these lows here for a bit, right around 95. Whatever came out, pushed yen or made yen weak, so pushed CAD yen higher, and we were able to, well, at least the market presented a selling opportunity, more in the right place, selling at high, selling at resistance. In the downtrend, you got your moving average. So it's really just trying to bring it all together.
Okay.
Relative. Go ahead.
Let me ask you this, Alexander. Being a trend trader, are there any tells for you that have you think that a trend is very mature and might be ready for some counter trend moves or even an inflection point?
Yeah. For counter trend trades, I would be trying to base that on higher time frame supply and demand. Let me see.
Well, for example, the dollar. Okay. There were nothing but dollar bulls, 4 months ago, 3-4 months ago. And this has been a very directional, impulsive move to the downside. And it's not the same trade it was. Sentiment's the other way. You can't find a dollar bull anywhere. So to me, this part of this wave is getting very mature, which has me looking for the potential of a bear market rally. I think it's going to happen under, you brought up big round numbers. I think there'd be enough panic if we took out par in the Dixie for that to happen. So I'm just wondering if you see any tells after a trend has been ongoing for a while that, give you at least some type of technical reason for the trend may be close to terminating. Is there any tool that tells you that a trend may end?
Uh, as a supply and demand trader, what I would be looking at is higher time frame supply and demand. So the idea of supply and demand is that these large moves that happen are done by actors in the market that have deep pockets, right? So, for example, there was this drop here, and then there was a pause, right? So a pause in the market just tells me that the buyers and the sellers are about even. There's one buyer to one seller, therefore the market doesn't need to move. But these equations are always changing, and sooner or later, one side normally goes to zero. So in this example, all the buyers went to zero. There were no more buyers in this area. So price had to move lower to try to bring in more buyers, right? Just the function of supply and demand. So when we're coming to these higher time frame areas where we have aggressive moves to the upside or the downside, this example being the downside, the aggressive move being here, that would be an area where I would say, okay, we're coming up to, let's say, resistance. I call it supply. And even though we're in an uptrend, maybe this isn't the best place to put a buy on. So you can see the dollar had been rallying for a very good amount of time. We get up to this supply area around 113, 40. And we start to tip over. So starting to see momentum shifts at these points is what I would be looking for. So going from larger strings of blue candles, or even just single large blue candles, to larger strings of red candles, or just single large red candles. And this can be done on like a daily chart, would probably be better for the momentum. But seeing larger daily red candles at weekly supply, if I wanted to take a counter trend trade, that's kind of what I would be looking for.
Okay.
Though ideally.
All right, why don't we move from theoretics to you say you're a swing trader? Swing trader. What do you like for swing trades in here, Alexander?
For swing trades, well, let's look at. So, looking at relative strength here, ideally we want to take a strong currency, pair it with a weak currency. So you guys were talking about these European pairs. One that I've been looking at, keeping my eye on, is Euro New Zealand. Euro New Zealand has been a really strong currency pair. This chart over here is the same type of analysis, but instead of done on a 4-hour chart, it's done on a weekly. So you can just kind of see we have a very nice spread between Euro and New Zealand on a grand scale. And we're starting to get that good spread again between the Euro and New Zealand on a more smaller scale. Again, this is done on the 4-hour. So just kind of looking at Euro New Zealand.
Okay.
There's that nice trend. So the relative strength on the weekly chart just shows us that, brings us to a pair that has been zigzagging with the impulses to the upside and retracements to the downside, right? And so, trying to find some buying opportunities here, being closer to weekly demand, I would expect that price is going to make its move higher. But notice it has been pausing, and that just could be this round number. This this 170 has really been keeping Euro New Zealand down. So what I would love to see is for price to start trading above 170. And then I think we could make it all the way up here to the 173, or maybe even go all the way to 175. And if that weekly relative strength is going to hold, breaking that 175, we'd come all the way up here to 180. And then that would just be kind of following this trend here. I don't think that's too far outside the box. We can do something like that, and boom,
like
bada boom, bada bing.
Okay. Anything else that you're keeping an eye on, looking to enter? Something that could be actionable over the next several days or weeks. I'm getting a question from Mustafa. Do you use any indicator for entering a trade?
It's all supply and demand for me. I came from, so I used to work for, I used to be an instructor at Online Trading Academy, and that was their core strategy. I started as a student there in 2008.
Yeah,
so
I thought
really,
I was talking to Sam Seiden for a minute.
Yeah, he can, his script is a lot more polished than mine is.
All right. Okay. Anyway.
But it's all supply and demand for me. And really, this is the way I started to trade back in 2008. And I've kind of stuck to this. But you can see, I like the 20 moving average. I have that on all of my charts, and I just kind of use it as a benchmark to just help me kind of distill the trend.
Nick wants to know how you set up RS charts on TradingView.
That has to be coded. So, I used to actually teach the by hand version in my classes, and where this indicator came from is I just had a lot of students. I said, I love the concept. I don't want to put the time into it. So, when COVID hit, I started posting the analysis just so that everyone can grab it and they don't actually have to know how to do it. So it takes a lot of work to get these. And so that's why it's nice to have this. And I do post it on my Twitter every day at Who's Trend. You can get it there. But if I were to be looking for other trading opportunities, definitely be leaning on the yen. Big yen seller right now, really, yen buyer, so buying the yen and wanting to sell weak currencies against it. So, selling CAD and buying yen just equates to, don't do that. Got to go to the right chart here. CAD yen. CAD yen is a big one for me. One that I think could start showing some good sell signals soon would be New Zealand yen. I'm not completely sold on it yet. A lot of it just being that it seems to be kind of like trapped here. So you can just kind of see this channel, even on the daily chart, we're just kind of ping-ponging between supply and demand. On the 4-hour, it looks a little bit better. This is definitely nice, day trading, if you will, just that back and forth, kind of the ping pong. So leaning on the yen, what I would love to see is for price to break out of this consolidation to the downside, because that would go with the relative strength, and then looking for those opportunities as price wants to, get below 80 and try to go to 75. And I think a lot of the yen strength is going to continue due to just equities looking so bad right now. I've been very bearish equities for some time now, though I don't trade equities. I really just invest. So I'm looking at, investment grade companies that earn money. Dividend stocks is important. But I do believe that the stock market's going to have a grind lower. believe a lot of the sectors that are weighted in the index are just overvalued, like tech. So I believe this push lower in the equity market is going to fuel the yen. And a lot of the times, I mean, just from my personal experience, out of all the safe haven currencies, that is dollar, Swiss, and yen, I believe the yen really moves with risk trends. It
didn't last year. It did not, right? I mean, the S&Ps were coming off and the yen rallied to 152. So it was weakening dramatically.
Well, yeah, the hard part with dollar yen is you got two safe haven currencies. So
but it wasn't a safe haven last year until there was a intervention and a shift in monetary policy by the BOJ. Now maybe that correlation is reconnected. Is that what you're saying?
No, I think the yen has always been a safe haven in the sense that when equities drop, the yen gets strong. So you have to think about when the equity market drops, the yen pairs are going to drop with it. So if you're looking at the futures market, the JY is going to be going through the roof when the equity market's going through the floor. But when you're looking at the pairs, all of the pairs have the yen in the back.
Right.
So that strong yen, due to the risk aversion, is just going to really push it down. And the pairs that I would want to be looking at would be those other single currencies that are they're risk currencies and they're highly impacted by equity movement, like the Aussie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Alexander. So we're getting some interest. People want to connect with you. And what's your business model?
I don't have one. I am just an independent trader. I don't offer any mentorship or any trading services. What I do offer is for free. And I really do it. I started doing it it was right out of COVID. Actually, before COVID, I never had social media. I'm an introvert. So I just kind of was hanging out, doing my thing. COVID hit, and I knew my students just needed that support. So I started to post, even on my Twitter, I started, COVID hit. So there it is, I'm here just independent trader, looking to help support my students and any other traders that like the idea of relative strength. And I'm always willing to point people in the right direction. So even though I don't have any paid services and I don't do mentorship, I take questions. I like people talking to me through my Twitter. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, there isn't. In fact, it's great.
Yeah.
I think it's great that you want to pay it forward and help people avoid the landmines that you've already stepped on.
Well, you can tell them where they are till you're blue in the face, and they're still going to step on a few. And I've been there. But trading's a passion for me, and it really changed my life for the better. It gave me focus, gave me direction.
Yeah.
Like I said, it gave me a passion, and I believe finding a passion in your life is one of what it seems like the rarest thing. I think more people need to really take time to kind of identify what is that thing that just lights the flame within. And for me, it's just this puzzle of the markets. And, when you're bringing in equities, when you're bringing in crude oil and you're a currency trader, I just really love that kind of big picture puzzle. And just really, really gets me going.
Yeah, nothing better. One of my favorite things is teaching a few methods to people and then seeing them outperform me. So, there's nothing like that feeling. It's like, it's a purpose.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad you found your purpose, and really appreciate you coming in here with your giving spirit, and encourage people to reach out to you and learn,
Cool.
because
Yeah.
I can tell that from talking to you, now that I remember after you brought up your history, that you could learn a lot from Alexander.
Thank you. Thank you, Dale. I really appreciate that. And thank you for having me again. I'll come back anytime. I'm welcome. So.
All right, you introvert, I'm going to have you back again.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
Alexander Perna, everybody. And at whose trend is his Twitter handle.
Yes.
And okay. So last question from Derige. Are you using EMA or MA?
EMA.
EMA.
Yeah. I just like the slightly faster reading. And
Yeah.
because I'm looking at weekly and daily in 4 hours,
Yeah.
I feel it doesn't give too quick of a response. You know, probably if I was a day trader, I might want the more of a lag kind of moving average feel. So I think simple would be better, but EMA is kind of what I've just kind of geared myself towards.
Okay. So everyone, Alexander Perna, willing to pay it forward. So if you're a hard worker and you want to learn, he could be a great resource for you. So
Thank you,
hope
Dale.
you have a great 2023, Alex. And
same to you.
Pips rain down on you.
Yes. Get the rake.
All right.
All right, Dale.
All right,
take care.
Take care, my trading warrior brother. All right, so that's
Cheers.
a wrap, everybody. And you could join the team in 12 minutes for the morning edge. Remember, don't just count your pips, count your blessings. See everyone tomorrow to wrap the week. You're very welcome, everyone.
Hey traders, this is Blake Morrow with ForexAnalytix. Thanks for stopping by our YouTube channel. Don't forget to like these videos, share them, and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of the content that we provide here for free. Thanks for stopping by. I'll see you in the next video.